So let's talk Diablo. In what I would say is the biggest fumble I've ever seen from a company announcing a game ever.
Other than No Man's Sky?
No,
I guess that wasn't announcing. Okay.
Yeah. As an announcement.
I was like, the biggest video game fumble still goes to No Man's Sky.
No. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. But when it comes to announcement, and we could. This is totally like a post-mortem on this because we're almost a week out at this point. But I'm a huge Diablo fan. It's one of my favorite franchises of all time, and I've been waiting for them to announce a Diablo 4, or, which I know this will never happen, so don't even talk in the comments about it, but I would love a Diablo MMO like World of Warcraft, but in the Diablo universe. So give me the... It's never going to happen.
if they won't make a WoW 2, they're not going to make a Diablo character MMO.
I feel like Diablo's deep enough that like they could do a lot with it in that kind of fashion. They're never going to do it. They're never going to do it. I know that. But when they came out talking about Diablo, everyone was excited until they started talking about our cell phones keeping us connected to our world. And immediately I'm like, this is over. They've lost the entire audience.
Patrick, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you have a cell phone?
Shut up.
That's like the dumbest.
That was the worst. Okay, the best fan questions ever, which I've even gone some of the people who asked questions. Sorry, I'm getting some pixelation in my video. I even watched some people who were talking online, like the guy who asked, "Will this ever be playable on PC?" Like he's a prominent Diablo online streamer, like since we're in season 12 now. He's been playing since season 3 and streaming, like, so I guess the past 4 years or something. Like that's all he does is stream Diablo. He doesn't even play any other games. So he's a prominent streamer, and for him he was talking about like a post-mortem on that where he was saying they he like as soon as they said the cell phones thing, he was like, I knew that it was like our worst fears came true. But the worst part about this, I mean, their cover up and their way that they're trying to like backpedal has been atrocious. I mean, obviously you have the best part was the red shirt guy asking, "Is this an April Fool's joke?"
I thought that was a question too far. Personally, it makes gamers look like asses. I understand that.
Yes.
The PC question and the way that was asked, it was borderline, but the fact that now you mentioned that he's a streamer, that makes it a little bit more okay for me. But I think that that's a fair question.
Yeah.
I want a PC Diablo game. Will this be playable on PC? Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
The April Fool's joke, I was like, leave the poor dev alone. Like, it's not his fault.
That was rough. So when they did the Q&A, they had someone you went through and you told them what your question was. And then they would either answer it if it was something that was like it was something that they knew the answer to. If it was something that they didn't know the answer to, then they would kind of let you go through, or they'd send you away, right? So I think red shirt guy who came up and said, "Yeah, this is out of turn out was it out of season April Fool's joke." I don't think he told them the real.
Of course not.
The real question, because there's no way they would have let him up at that point.
Of course not.
So that was a dick move. It was hilarious, but it was a complete dick move. So I kind of feel bad about that.
Because the thing about this being a big debacle is that these two dudes, one, they're just getting paid to work on the game. Like, I'm sure that I'm not completely sure, but I'm sure that those two guys, if they aren't already, would rather be working on Diablo 4. But higher ups at Blizzard say, "Hey, you're gonna work on this, or see you later." So that's what they get paid to do, and then they put these guys up there on stage to announce this game. And Blizzard somehow later was like, "We had no idea that the fan backlash on a mobile game." Tone deaf.
That's completely tone deaf. I don't understand how they could be so tone deaf. That's what completely bothers me about all of this is you have a game that is so PC centric that when someone said, "Hey, we're going to put this on console," which I'm pretty sure that they put the original Diablo on console and it was horrible.
It's awful.
But they put Diablo 3 on console and it's not bad.
It's great after they fixed it.
Yeah, after they fixed it, like the PS4 version's great. I'm playing it on Switch, which I think I told you a little bit about it. Like I'm like, it's good. It's Diablo. I mean, I'm not upset about it.
I've heard good things.
Yeah, I mean, it's smooth. It runs well. Like all of the skeletons are coming at me, and the game doesn't chug. I don't lose frame rate like I'm doing right now. My friggin' video feed.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. I'll have to figure out what's going on. But at least the audio's going all right. So, but it bothers me that this franchise that's so and even everyone that I know who has even played it on console has played it on PC. Every single person, and they were like, "Yeah, the PC is a better version of this game. It's a better interface."
Sure.
The worst part about this, though, which I don't think everyone has dove into deep enough, this game is not being made by Blizzard.
No, it's not. It's made by a mobile game company.
It's by NetEase.
Yeah.
NetEase is making it. It's the same situation that happened with Aliens, Colonial Marines, and Gearbox. There's a lot of art assets and stuff that actually, I would say Blizzard's doing more art assets than Gearbox and everything, but Blizzard's handing everything over to NetEase. NetEase is making the game. NetEase came out with a game a year ago called Endless of God, which is a Diablo mobile game, and it has the exact same interface as this game.
Yeah, it's the reskin.
It is a reskin. It is Super Mario Brothers 2 all over again, except now we know what's happening. And you're putting a better brand on it. You're putting better intellectual property on it. But if it's the same game, what does it matter? Like, this is gameplay and Diablo gameplay is what matters. We don't play. I jokingly was talking to Kevin earlier this week. I said, you don't play Diablo for. I know people are going to joke, but I'm saying this in hyperbole. You don't play Diablo for the story.
No,
like you play it for the loot.
I play it for click, 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 click.
Yes,
that's why I play Diablo.
You want that loot. That's why Borderlands did so well, because Borderlands was like, how do we take Diablo and make a shooter out of it?
I like clicking on boxes and getting random stuff.
Yeah, I want random stuff, and I want to be able to. I want to collect sets. I want to make these more powerful runes. You were talking about like Kevin was talking about like the Herodrum Cube and everything in Diablo 2. There's so much cool stuff. That's what Diablo is about. Yes, there's lore, there is story, and it's good. Don't get me wrong.
Stay a while and listen.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, I love Diablo's story. I do. But at the same time, I jokingly asked Kevin this. Let me see if you can answer. Who were the Herodrum? Do you even remember?
No. Is that what Cain was a part of?
Yeah, he was like one of the last order of the Herodrum and the Herodrum Cube. But like, I'm pretty sure he was
the only way I would have gotten there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was one of the last ones. But they originally sealed up Diablo, and there's some back end stuff. That they did, lore where they talk about what the Herodrum did and everything. But did that matter? No. But like the Butcher, we know who the Butcher was, and people that you run into. But when it talks to Diablo backstory, I think majority of people when they're playing Diablo 3 just click through that audio. Like, just get the quest and go do
I probably listened to
stuff.
it once and then never listened to it again.
I mean, I think it's good. Don't get me wrong. I think it's good. But you're talking about a reskin of a mobile game, which my company has an office in Manila, and Manila, just like a lot of like Japan and a lot of other Asian countries, like mobile gaming is huge there. It is just giant. So I asked them, "Have you played Endless of God?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, that game's pretty good." And then I mentioned the new Diablo game. And they'd seen the trailer for it, and they didn't even make the connection. And I had them look at it, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I can see that's kind of the same," but they didn't even care. Like, they're like, because mobile gaming is so big for them. To me, I felt like it was like someone just announced a new shooter, Like, and it's just like, okay, yeah, I guess it's good too. But this is blatantly a reskin, and you hit it right on the head when their reaction was, "Do you not have phones?" That was the worst reaction. I mean, and they booed. People booed at a BlizzCon. No one boos at BlizzCon.
It's fun.
Yeah.
BlizzCon's supposed. This, I think, speaks to a larger issue with some of these companies that have been around forever. First of all, I'm not hating on Blizzard whatsoever in the sense that they produce some of my favorite games of all time. The first online experience that I can remember was a combination of Diablo 2 with my boas on and StarCraft 2, StarCraft Brood War, were the two games that I played like first online. That I'll never forget that. And then came World of Warcraft. And then I played Hearthstone, and I recently quit Hearthstone, but I think it speaks to this thing of there's Blizzard, you have a company like Bethesda where in addition to announcing Fallout 76, they also throw out the Starfield, and they're like, oh yeah, and we're making Elder Scrolls 6. It's kind of like this thing in the background. A lot of people said that if they would have showed a little screen cap that said Diablo 4, that would have saved it, and maybe for the hardcore of hardcore, it might have saved it, but in my opinion, why don't you just either give the fans what they want, or there's something to be said about Bethesda and making, is it Starfield? Is that the right name of the game?
I believe so. But
there's something about new IP too. If you have a new IP, that's fine, Blizzard, but don't tease Diablo, like don't say, hey, we're making some Diablo stuff and you're gonna want to see it, and then show me a damn mobile game.
Yeah. Now,
awful.
I think that if they showed that they were working on Diablo 4, this in a similar fashion to what Todd Howard did with Skyrim, or what they did with Fallout Shelter, where they're like, hey, we made this mobile game. We know you guys like, some people like mobile games. If you don't like it, okay, that's fine. We're already working on other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, for what they did instead was they said, I know you guys you can't wait for a new Diablo game. Here's a new Diablo game. Instead of saying, hey, this is a mobile game. I hope you guys like it. But at least having that part of the narrative where you're saying Diablo 4 is coming. You don't have to outright say it. Like Brandy Pitchford's been saying, don't worry. The majority of our office is working on the thing you want us to be working on. Like,
wink, wink.
Yeah, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, like that. Like, we know what he's doing there. But I think that if all that they had to do was show kind of a story trailer, and honestly, like I said, Diablo's so mix and match. You could have shown a story trailer almost exactly like the one that you showed for Immortal, and then had Diablo 4. Like, just show me some generic stuff. Show me some stuff about like a new world stone or something going on, the Herodrum have returned, or whatever it is. Like, give me just a tiny sliver, or like you said, do what Bethesda did, where you just say, oh yeah, we're also working on this. Because I think when they announced Blades, when they first were showing it off, I had a bad taste in my mouth. I was like, you better not be putting money in front of your audience, basically saying, if I can make more money doing this and I may ostracize some of my audience, but I make more money, it's okay, which I feel like Bethesda's doing with Fallout 76.
The thing about a lot of, I think he made a good point in terms of what they did with Fallout Shelter, where they're like, hey, Fallout 4 is coming, but hey, in the meantime, here's this little game that we also made. Cool, enjoy it if you want. It's even free to play. That's cool. I will say, whenever they did Blades was announced at an Apple conference before it was announced, like, to the rest, at least from what I remember, and so it didn't really bother me seeing it again. It's just I continue to get tired of these companies where they do stuff just to appease. Like, Diablo 4 is coming, cool. You could be absolutely right, where they could have said, hey, just to let you know, we are working on this. We're not ready to show it yet. I can take honesty. Like, when Sony canceled PSX, I was bummed. I love PSX. I love Sony. I'm a fanboy to the core, and that was a bummer that they canceled it. But they were like, we don't have anything to show you right now.
I appreciated that so much. I appreciated that so much, because what that said was, we don't want to waste time. We don't want to waste money. We gave you a bunch of stuff at E3. just sit tight, because like you said, also Sony's a big enough company that they don't have to do PSX. I like PSX. I love Sony.
Yeah.
But Blizzard, Kevin's in the comments saying Blizzard nailed it with games as a service for Overwatch, for games as a service as opposed to just a video game. It continues to make them money. It's marketable. It's great, and people keep playing it. And he did, by the way, get the answer correctly when I asked him who the Horadrim were. But sure. I didn't think anybody was going to get it, except for people who are like lore nerds. But I guess Kevin's kind of like that when it comes to like Lord of the Rings and stuff.
He's got a better memory than me. That's another thing. He brings up a very good point with Overwatch. Honestly, though, like, I think Overwatch needs to give way to Overwatch 2. They're not going to do it. You know why? Because they could just keep selling you new characters. Hearthstone, same thing. What do? We just released a new expansion 6 months after, and that's what made me quit this year. I quit Hearthstone this year with the most recent expansion. It's not that it's not fun, and if you want to put your money and your time into it, more power to you. But I'm tired of it, Blizzard. Like, you make some of the best games of all time. Stop doing this games as a service stuff and give me some of the content that I want with the single player, or in Diablo's case, a small multiplayer experience.
I think that they learned with World of Warcraft that they didn't need a new game to continue to pump out content, and they could continue to ride that vehicle into the ground, and then when it burns to the ground, you literally reboot it, but you just sell another expansion pack for it. And that's what they've been doing. I mean, Warcraft has changed considerably since vanilla, but that's what they're doing. They're just riding it into the ground as hard as they can. There's been a bunch of updates, but still, it's still Warcraft.
That was another thing that upset me about BlizzCon. Warcraft 3 Reforged instead of Warcraft 4. It's been like 20 years.
Yeah.
I don't remember when Warcraft 3 came out, but I feel like it's been 20 years.
I feel like it's been like 17 years or something. I'll have to check. I personally, again, this is one that will happen. A Diablo 2 remaster, I think, would be very good and would make a lot of money. Diablo 1 wouldn't, but
no, I mean, Diablo 2's, honestly, the graphics aside, I think Diablo 2 holds up. But even graphics, you can make it look good. I
will go back and play. Yes, I'm sure there's mods out there. Like, I went back and played Diablo 2 last year. Like, and yeah, the graphics are, I think to us, we can appreciate it a little bit. It's like if you and I go back and play a SNES game or an NES game, we're just like, okay, like, it does its thing. But Diablo has never been about the best graphics. It's been about there's hordes of enemies coming at you. Click. That's
what I think of every time I think of Diablo 2.
Well, they did a remaster of StarCraft, which I missed.
Yes, they did.
But I think I think we stumbled across a weird topic that we probably could have made it as use Diablo to bolster, but we talked about Final Fantasy on the news show and what they're doing with that brand. We've talked about Blizzard here. We've talked about Bethesda and what it's doing with Fallout. These companies have been around for years and years and years, and I get that we're not going to see those brands disappear because people don't want them to disappear, but at the same time, when you start doing the brand a disservice, I think people, I wonder when people are going to start speaking with their wallet and saying, hey, stop messing with these things that I care so deeply about. You're a huge Diablo fan. I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan. I'm sure there's people that are big Fallout fans, big Skyrim fan, or, not Skyrim, Elder Scrolls in general. You can keep on going down the line with just these franchises that have been around forever. You guys own these brands. Why aren't you treating them with more respect? Yeah. And I think that'll, we'll talk about that in another topic, though. We'll talk about brands and franchises in another topic. But let us know what you think about Diablo, what you think about the Diablo release, and if you think it was the biggest botch, and if you're going to try the mobile game. I will try it if it's free.
Absolutely.
I will try it, but I will not pay any money for this.
No, I hope not.
Thanks for watching This Week in Our Collective Heads. Subscribe over here and click the bell, and that way you'll know about any new videos that we put up, because we put up a lot of a lot of gameplay, a lot of stories from games and stuff like that. And gameplay is down here.
Yeah, and you got more editorials and news stuff down here. Check it out.